Coming up on Cards and Collectibles. Press start, a home with more arcade machines than an amusement park. How collecting communities help some people find belonging. And we explain NBA card licensing and how things are changing. Step through the doors of Nathan Walton's home and you'll feel like you've hit rewind on a time machine. In a world where everything's gone digital, he's brought back the magic of the arcade era. From classic 80s cabinets to rare pinball machines, he's transformed his house into the ultimate retro playground.
I always say it's a little bit like having your first tattoo. Once you have your first one, you like it so much that you get addicted. Collectively, me and my business partner Caesar, we have roughly 110 pinball machines and roughly 200 arcades. This is Arcade Alley. We're starting off with a couple of low boys. We've got this Street Fighter, X-Men vs Street Fighter just here. Moving on, 1943 cabinet, we've got Blood Brothers. Got the NBA Jam by Midway, one of the favourite games in the 90s. Anyone who's a sports fan loves this game. I kind of love believe it or not, the size of them, even though they are an absolute nightmare to move. The style of gameplay too back then. Some of the best games growing up were like your fighting games like Street Fighter and your Mortal Kombats, but also your side scrollers, so Simpsons, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they were really popular. From a nostalgic point, collecting machines that you used to play as a kid, you have those emotions too of like, I used to love this when I was younger, or this used to be at my local fish and chip shop that might no longer be there. We've got Sunset Riders, Mortal Kombat number 3. And talking about fighters, we're going on to Street Fighter 2. Who doesn't like playing Ken vs. Ryu? Donkey Kong, classic style cabinet from America. When you're a kid and you're putting your money into the machine, you might not ever make it to the final boss because you may run out of money. Now, when you own one, you can physically get to that stage and not have to worry about, how many credits have I put in? Moving on to another similar arcade to the NBA Jam I showed you before, but ice hockey. You can't really get these in Australia, so I had to import it. The game is exactly the same style as NBA Jam, but ice hockey, which everybody loves too. Arcades are one thing, but pinball machines, you have a huge rule set, and that rule set compared to another rule set is very, very different. For me, like nothing beats, the touch and feel of an actual pinball going up and down. This 7-foot Lego Batman welcomes you as you enter my pinball room. Crazy Taxi is one of my favourites that I used to play when I was in high school. I've been looking for a Crazy Taxi for many years and I finally found one, which was fantastic. You go to the Daytona, everybody's favourite driver, that is. As you move on, you're looking at the pinball machines. One of my favourite games is Funhouse. Moving on from Funhouse, you've got a collector's item in Elvis. Then we have Flintstones, awesome cartoon and great pinball machine with a cool topper. Then we're moving on to Johnny Mnemonic. Once again, awesome movie and 90s title. Then we've got Strikers Extreme, so for all you soccer fans out there. And then this one here is Atari Middle Earth. So not many Ataris were made. I think there was only 7 different titles. Then you've got the Playboys, one of the classics from the 70s. It's kind of like one of those special pieces for a pinball collector. I would say the other major one from that era is Kiss. It came available and I'd run out of money. So I told my wife the story. Bless her soul, she ended up buying it. And so technically I don't own it, my wife does. And then the very last but not least, we got the Lord of the Rings limited edition, limited to only 500. I've always been a person that's wanted to entertain people. So I decided to try and create some sort of atmosphere that sort of felt like a miniature time zone. The 1988 Metal Hawk was a machine that originated from Japan. In fact, most of the narration in the game is actually in Japanese as well. It was one of those arcades that I thought, well, it is massive, but not many people would have one. I got to get one. As the years went on, from say 2010, 2012, the machine started to skyrocket. Stuff that you'd buy for $1,500 to $1,800 10, 12 years ago could be worth up to $10,000 now. Then we have the Hot Shots. Now this is a really rare, cool game, also made by the Williams Pinball Group. It was actually set up as a redemption ticket machine, which Williams never really did back in the day. From that standpoint, made it rare. I was on Marketplace one day, this Jurassic Park gate comes up and I was like, that looks awesome. And I thought, well, I could use that as the gate going into the secret room, and that's where I keep all the really cool stuff.
Whether you're looking for singles, boxes or card accessories, Sports Card World has had you covered for over 30 years. Come in and speak with their knowledgeable team about all things cards and collectibles.
This is my secret room. Come in and I'll show you the 4K projection where me and the boys watch the latest NBA and football. The sports collection on the side to match the football. The three main pinballs, my Whitewater, my Shadow, two Bally Williams titles that I grew up loving. And also on the side we've got Maverick in there because it's also got a topper to match the other machines. On this side I've got the 5 PC setup. I used to go to many LAN events. People that don't know what LAN is, it's the local area network, where you would bring your computer to a basketball stadium. And when I was younger, I used to go to lots of these events. They used to be called Valhalla or Reloaded. I decided I have to have a LAN set up, and I did 5 identical sort of systems to cater for that. So very happy with how it's turned out. One of my main pieces is the poker table from Austria. I managed to score this through my business partner many, many years ago when we first started collecting. And it has like 30 odd games on it, but the main game that everybody loves is Texas Hold'em poker. The idea is that you put your hand on the screen and then you put your finger down and it will peel back the numbers of your cards. And I've sort of set it up with the booth, like a bit like an old diner. I love it because it's a lot of fun with your friends. When I was younger, one of the first games I ever played was Whitewater. I fell in love with it because there's like this giant Yeti at the top of the playfield. For me, back then, I was like, whoever designed this is a genius. The topper has got like a mesmerizing waterfall coming down. So you get the little flickering lights. Yeah, I guess you're just immersed in it all. When I was young, I used to go to a place called Voltrek. When you went down to paintball, when you're waiting for the other teams to finish their shots, they had this little room with 20 arcade machines. And in the middle of this arcade room, they had this huge arcade machine, which was called Gauntlet. I used to love this game growing up, and I would constantly go back to Voltrek to play it. I ended up deciding to go back to paintball. I hadn't been there for many, many years, and it was gone. So to my surprise, I was like absolutely devastated. I asked them and they said, oh, it's actually broken at the moment. We've got it out the back. And a few months later, they rang me and they said, oh, you said you can repair machines? And I said, yeah. And they said, well, some of our low boys have got issues. Maybe we can work out a deal on you buying that Gauntlet if you can fix up our machines. It was really cool because it sort of brought me back to my childhood of going there as a kid, and then even as an adult playing paintball over there. It brought back so many good memories, and that's my favourite machine that I'll probably never let go of. The best thing about it is you could play with your friends. You could be a wizard or you could be a warrior. There was like 4 heroes you could pick from. Your whole point was that you had to go through entire maps with your friends and work together to try and get to that outcome of finding the boss. My ultimate goal with the collection is mainly to have friends around who can actually appreciate it and enjoy it. You know, they might have had a hard week at work and you could just come here, have a beer, enjoy some games, and you don't have to pay a cent for it.
Who remembers watching NBA VHS tapes? Before YouTube highlights, NBA fans relied on VHS tapes to relive legendary moments. Michael Jordan's dominance in the late 80s and 90s led to iconic releases like Come Fly With Me and Michael Jordan Airtime. These tapes produced by NBA Entertainment captured Jordan's gravity-defying dunks and championship runs, turning every living room into the United Center. I remember watching Michael Jordan's Come Fly With Me over and over and over again, and one of my fondest memories is watching it with my cousins. My cousin could almost remember word for word the whole movie. Head to our socials and tell us what you remember about NBA VHS tapes.
NBA cards have long been shaped by a mix of brands, each adding their own flair to the hobby. But in 2009, everything changed when Panini secured exclusive rights to produce NBA cards. For over a decade, they defined the modern era with bold designs and iconic sets. Now, as Panini's run ends and Topps steps in, Matt from Sports Card World unpacks the journey, Panini's impact, and what's next for collectors.
From the early days of NBA licensing, pretty much any company could get an NBA license if they paid the money. Through the early 90s, there was lots of companies. There was Upper Deck, Topps, Fleer, Skybox, just to name a few. The best thing about having multiple companies with an NBA license was that each company had their own different style of cards. They were always trying to come up with a new card design just to, put them above everyone else. And that was really good competition in the hobby. Some of the most valuable cards in the hobby today were produced in the sort of late 90s. Companies like Fleer put out like precious metal gems, cards that were individually numbered. In the early 2000s, Upper Deck introduced a brand called Exquisite. It was the first super high-end product. Cards in there had like pieces of the players' game-worn jerseys, autographs, and they were very limited numbers. Some of those cards, in particular, say the LeBron James rookie card, sells in the millions of dollars. I think the NBA was hard to work with lots of different companies, and they wanted to sort of have just one company get the NBA license. A company called Panini, they'd been around for a while producing soccer cards. They did a lot of collectible stickers for different franchises and stuff. So it was a big move for them to, move into the American trading card market and get an NBA license. With Panini having an exclusive license for the NBA, not every set was just called Panini like it was in the back in Upper Deck and Topps. It was Panini Prism, Panini Donruss. They're all different lines of Panini products, each set with their own different feel and different design, and that's what the card company Panini kept producing. When any new company comes along, people are probably a little bit skeptical about, who are they, what are they all about? But, Panini were pretty good. They came up with some really iconic high-end sets like National Treasures and Flawless. With the Prism set and the Prism Golds, that was one of the first times that Panini had introduced a color variation of the base card. So you had the base card and then different color variations, but the card looked the same, just with those different colors. Gold Parallel was numbered to 10. These days, the Prism Gold to 10s are probably one of the most desirable cards that Panini produce. Like a Steph Curry or a Kobe Bryant gold card to 10 might sell for close to $500,000. With the popularity of Prism and all different cards, each year they produce more and more parallel, so more and more different variations of that same card. There might have been a blue, a red, a green version. These days, in the new Prism cards, there's over 80 different cards to collect of the one player. Panini's, flagship set is Flawless. It's a set of cards. It comes in a briefcase. In those, you're expecting to get game-worn jersey cards, autographs, and also some of the cards have little pieces of diamond in them. So for around 15 years, Panini have had that license and have brought out some amazing, iconic cards that will be for the hobby forever. But from 2025, Topps has regained an NBA license. There's great excitement with Topps getting the NBA license. They're really bringing in some, real new initiatives, I guess, to collecting, some great new card designs, which we've seen in other sports. So I think moving forward, they'll continue to grow the hobby and we'll see the card collecting evolve in general. If all this licensing stuff doesn't make sense to you, make sure you call into your local card shop and just ask.
Each year, the Panini basketball release schedule is culminated by the high-end flawless set, with boxes retailing for between $10,000 to $15,000. In one such flawless release, Panini elected to include triple Logoman cards, a card which includes the NBA logo from game-worn jerseys of not one, but 3 superstars. But one card featured 3 NBA logos from each team LeBron James has played for. This caused a frenzied chase within the collecting community, with multi-million-dollar bounties being placed on the card before it had even released. This card was eventually pulled by a group of 3 friends and sold in June 2022 for a staggering $3.65 million. For more record sales or to see the value of your collectibles, download the 130 Point app today.
Collecting was once a lonely passion, with many enthusiasts feeling like outcasts in their niche interests. Today, what starts as a shared hobby often turns into lifelong friendships, with communities forming around everything from trading cards to vintage toys. For many, collecting isn't just about the items, it's about belonging.
There's a great community out there. All you have to do is jump on Instagram, go on Facebook, search for gaming groups, and you'll be connected with some really, really good people. Unfortunately, eBay just doesn't have these things. In terms of finding the really rare consoles, rare games, and rare displays, you've got to join that community, talk to each other, swap things around. That's the way you find the really rare stuff, and it takes patience and time.
I really feel a great opportunity that is on Facebook. There's a lot of groups you can join and you can make some great purchases, but even just to discuss your collections, even as yesterday, people are going, show us your Star Wars helmet shelf, and you just see everybody just putting up their Star Wars helmets. It's a safe place, a lot of compliments, people that just understand that it's what makes you happy. And it's just nice to see that you're not the only person who's just going crazy over a new release of something as well, so it really is good.
You sign up with the Facebook group, you meet up with other collectors. Other collectors are willing to sell their stock at better prices than they are on eBay. A lot of the cool stuff you see around here, the standees, all from local collectors.
As a Lego collector, I'm also a Lego content creator, so I do build and I also love sharing it with the community so everyone can just relate to it. If it inspires people to build, that's where I get like a really good fulfillment out of doing it as well.
I actually started my Instagram account during lockdown as a creative outlet. I wanted to take photos of pieces in my collection and style them in different ways, and it just grew from there. And from there, I made all these friends from all over Australia and the world, but we are really, really good friends. Like, we are genuinely friends, and it's so funny because we wouldn't have met any other way except we were connected through this love of Disney. So there really is this amazing community when it comes to Disney collecting in Australia.
Being international, it's harder to form good friendships, but you certainly connect with guys that I really enjoy having a chat with. I've got a guy in Brazil who I know, get on with really, really well, and we look after each other. Guys in the States, guys in China, so you kind of build that. And as long as everyone's trying to look after each other, then you can usually source the item that you want and everyone's happy.
For me, the biggest advantage of the internet was connecting with like-minded people and the community that it was able to spawn. And I met my best friend Darren in the early 2000s, a fellow Masters of the Universe fan, probably the most passionate Masters of the Universe collector I've ever met. Sadly, he passed away 4 years ago. But that friendship of being able to connect with someone who shared the passion enriched my journey as a toy collector because I could share it with someone. Prior to that, it was just me and these sort of childhood memories and exploring those, and that has enriched my journey and my passion as a toy collector.